All right. Now, moving on to Mantis. Mantis is, if you're not familiar, this was another big one that came out with a big YouTube slash social media push. There was a lot of, I think actually GT still rocks these guys, but a lot of people rock with Mantis. Now, Mantis, if you're not familiar, is essentially a data driven dry fire system. So it's basically an app plus some hardware that goes on your distance hole puncher, let's say. And so you can kind of get a lot better data on what is actually happening with your handgun. And they also have some, not necessarily just dry fire stuff, but what they call like cold fire, where you get some like real feedback in your firearms or whatnot, which is kind of cool as well. The thing that I don't necessarily like all that much is that the data that it compiles may be accurate, but it's not necessarily the most useful format for diagnosing issues. Telling you how much, like pre-travel or pre-ignition force you're putting on the trigger or whatnot. Some of that stuff isn't really all that useful and can be kind of difficult to put into a more usable formula, let's say. So it is definitely data driven. The stuff isn't too terribly expensive because, I mean, when you think about like 1,000 rounds of 9mm and the training, so let's say like $300 or something like that, you can get a pretty nice system for $300 and you can use that for years and years, not just, 2, 3, 4 range sessions. So I do even think there is some value here. You can argue whether or not it is absolutely needed. Most of us don't dry fire enough as it is. And I think dry firing, weapon manipulations, doing things like if you're practicing with night vision, you can simply just turn the light off in your room and get like quote unquote night vision reps. And so it's just being more familiar with whatever platform it is that you're using. So weapon manipulations, all that sort of stuff is really important to get reps on, not just, for me, it's easy enough to kind of slink back and not do as much dry fire as I should because I go shooting usually every week. Right. But if you're a guy who really only gets the opportunity, you work a normal job, you work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, plus then time with family, time doing other projects. Maybe you only get to shoot once a month, once every 6 months, maybe once a year for a lot of people. So having something that you can just use in your bedroom when you're goofing around watching YouTube videos or way too long live streams, this might be a very valuable product to some people that can help bridge the gap between dry fire and of course actual live fire that is quite expensive. Hey Gary, your audio is a little bit nope, your audio is screwed up, bro. I just gotta message him real fast, make sure he doesn't hop back in. Audio static, don't join. Yeah, that's a little bit rough. Yeah, let's make sure he gets out of there, because nobody can't listen to that is difficult. All right. Yeah, I think he was actually in the back of his Jeep back from taking care of one of his goats, if I remember correctly. So he's doing important work. But back to Mantis, it's not the worst thing out there for sure. I think it is definitely in the acceptable category and can actually be a quite good product for some people. Again, for me, who this is my job, so I kind of have to do it, I probably don't need as much dry fire as the average person. However, I could still probably get some benefit from it if I actually put in the work, put in the time, did say 15 minutes to 30 minutes every day while I'm doing, whatever else is that I'm doing, because I also do watch a lot of YouTube as well. So if you can kind of incorporate it into your daily life, and again, it's, you can do it anywhere versus only doing it on a range in a very controlled environment.